In this video, I'm going to be teaching you 3 fun and easy definition games for your music classes. Hi everyone, my name is Jooya from Jooya Teaching Resources, and I'm a music teacher with over 20 years of experience in the music classroom. And in this video, I'm going to be teaching you 3 fun and easy definition games that you can use in your music classes. These games are a great way to help your students learn new terms and have a little bit of fun at the same time. So let's get started. Three fun and easy definitions for music terms games for your music classes. So welcome. As said, I'm going to show you 3 games, but before we get to the 3 games, I'll show you one way to actually help the kids in the beginning so the games are even more fun. So the 3 games are, and there's a couple of variations on the first one, so really there's more, but let's just stick with the 3. So musical definition charades or Pictionary, and actually I've got another idea as well for that one, music term bingo, and music definition cards. Chairs. So there's 3 games, but the first one's got a few variations, and actually each of them have a few variations on all of the games, but they are musical definition charades or Pictionary, music term bingo, and music definition chairs. So hi, I'm Jooya from Jooya Teaching Resources, and my mission is to help busy music teachers like you in classrooms around the world with resources you need to teach music appreciation to inspire the next generation of musicians. So teaching the definitions for music terms can be a challenge. It can be, but teaching the definitions for music terms can be a challenge, but there are some fun activities that can help students learn the music vocabulary that they need to know to become better musicians and students. By including some hands-on and fun learning activities, your music students will be able to better understand and remember the different definitions for music terms. So as I said, there's 3 fun games we're going to look at: music definition charades or Pictionary, music term bingo, and music definition chairs. And I'll go into each of those in a bit of detail. So some of the fun activities for learning for definition terms really depend on your music students having specific lessons and instructions for all of the music terms you want them to know. Before completing any of the more hands-on games, try one of the one-pager lessons below. It will make the rest of the activities engaging and fun for your music students. Let's talk about this. All right. So using one-pagers to learn the definitions. So this is just a nice way to actually learn the definitions. And once the kids have learnt the definitions, playing the games helps them to actually really cement and remember what those terms are, because when you connect a bit of fun to something that may be a little bit dry, maybe, depending on how you're teaching it, it actually helps them remember much, much easier. So a one-pager, if you don't know, is an effective tool for learning definitions for music terms. This one-pager worksheet provides a single organized sheet where your music students will write the music term definitions and then are encouraged to add visual illustrations to make the definitions easier to understand and remember. Now, again, this is a key way to do it. It's not the only way to do it, but doing this activity really does help the kids in a lot of ways. It helps different learners and different learning styles. By using this effective learning strategy in your music classroom, you'll see that the one-pagers can help your music students as they study each element of music. Through this simple yet effective learning activity, your music students can quickly and efficiently build their understanding of essential definitions for the music terms that they need to know. So you can get this bundle in my store. Now you can also get them individually. And I'm just going to stop share for a moment, because I'll show you what I mean, okay? And I'll show you what they actually look like. And this is something I'll do, and I'll go into a bit more detail again in a moment. But just so you can see, okay, so I've just got a few here that have been completed. So what they are, as you can see here, is one page And you can see that this one is actually all on beat. So if you were doing rhythm, for example, and it's ways of describing beat, you know, backbeat, syncopation, cross rhythm, pulse, swing. Okay, lots of definitions. Now, this one hasn't actually got drawings on it, but if you got your kids to actually draw in things onto them, that really helps. It also really helps them if they add color. By adding color, again, it's that connection and that memory. Let me see if I can find one that's actually got a drawing on it, which I don't think I do. Well, let's just have another look at another one. Okay, so again, here's another one for harmony. Alrighty, relative minor, consonant, dissonant, major, minor, modulation. These are all just different ways to do this. And again, these are just nice ways to get your kids to connect to the terms. And so I'm going to describe the lesson that I do to complete all these. And the thing is with all of these, they're actually connected so that the things that make sense to go together are. So for example, on this one, harmonic rolls. What are the harmonic rolls? Okay, so you can have melodic accompaniment, bass line, drone, or a pedal point. Okay, and again, it's sort of grouping things together for the kids. And look, if we're looking for cadences, you know, the good old cadences, imperfect, interrupted, plagal, and perfect, depending on what you want to do. So you don't have to do all the sheets. Let me just pick one more. Okay, let's do dynamics because everyone likes dynamics. Okay, dynamics again. You could be putting them, you can see here that these have got the actual symbols, like very loud, FF, F, MF, MP, P, etc. And you can see that. So these are what the one pages look like that are in that bundle. There's plenty of other things in that bundle. It's one of my best-selling products. It's only been created a couple of years ago, but it really does. Kids like doing it. I've been using it with actually my year 9, 10s, 11s and 12s because we're diving deeper, but you could use it with any year group depending on what you're actually studying in the classroom. So to use the one page to help your music students learn definitions for music terms, try this lesson plan. And this is exactly what I do with my kids. It's a nice, easy lesson, nice, simple lesson. They like it. I like it. So many benefits to this one. So firstly, print out your one page of worksheets that you want them to use. Okay. Now you don't even have to print them out. You might actually say to them, these are the terms we're going to do. You create it on your page. But if you don't want to do that and you want to save yourself some time, use the one pages. Then print out your definitions for the music terms or pages that accompany the one page of worksheets. Now, for example, if I was going to do this, sorry, I'm just reaching down again. For example, here's the actual definition worksheet, all right? Now, I would be printing those, and I do print these, onto coloured paper. I don't have them with me at the moment because at the moment I'm currently not in the classroom. And I left all these for the person who was coming after me, so they had the resources. But I print several versions, as in several copies, enough for the kids, one between two, so that they've actually got them and they can use them that way. So you can see there it says print out the definitions, and hint, if you're going to use this type of lesson, print the definitions onto coloured paper and laminate. They last for years. That way you can use each page of music terms and definitions for each class or year group. So again, if you've got multiple classes, you don't having to print a new one for each one. Okay. Personally, I print them onto the definition sets per pages for one between two students because they like to share, and my students are always a chatty bunch. So they always like to have a little chat and a gossip session, you know, when they're doing these lessons. They love it. The next part is discuss each definition in the list. So talk about them first. You might want to provide a demonstration or give a listening example, depending on what you're doing. Like, say, for example, it's dynamics. It's really easy to actually give a demonstration of, you know, the different levels. Okay. And it's even better if you could play those. All right. And then hand out the one page of worksheets and ask students to complete each page. Encourage them to add images, drawings, and color them to help them remember the definitions for each music term. You'll be surprised at what they come up with. And sometimes their drawings are actually really entertaining. And you're looking at them and you go, what is that? And they explain it to you and you go, oh, okay, that makes sense now. Because it does make you wonder sometimes. When I do this, I usually put on some music, nice chill music. Okay, go to YouTube and find something nice and relaxing, put it on. So when the kids are just something in the background. So this one page activity might take a couple of lessons, depending on the number of definitions and music terms you are learning. When your students are finished with each page, make sure to keep them in a secure place. And that's the trick. Now, I've always used exercise books in my classroom, but I have done in the past used a scrapbook. And what I mean by that is, I don't know what they call it in the US or in the UK. but this is a scrapbook. Here in Australia, I got this one from Kmart, and it's like, you can see pretty covers, but I've got quite a few of them, and they've just got blank pages. There's nothing actually in them, so that when you have got them, you get the kids to, glue in those sheets in there. Then this becomes a really great reference tool for your kids when they're actually learning and trying to do some study, okay, if they're doing an assessment or whatever. It is fantastic. I've done that before myself, especially with my senior classes, so they've got it all in one spot. Like, there's your information, there's your definitions, learn them, you need to know them. So again, don't forget, if you want to make this easier on yourself, go and grab the bundle over at my Teachers Pay Teachers store, my TPT store, and has everything in there. It doesn't only just have the one pages, it has quite a few other activities as well, depending on what you want to do with your kids. But so we're just talking about music terms here today. Let's get into the fun stuff now. So this is the games. So musical definition charades. Now, it depends on your class. You might want to do one or two, or maybe some of these, or not at all, because your class might not want to do this. I've had classes in the past where this has been absolutely a great activity to do with them, because they love it and they request it. And other classes are like, I'm not doing that. No way. So it depends on your class and the kids you have. So this fun and active game is a great way to check for the understanding of the definitions and musical terms that you are learning with your students. To play this game, have your students split into two teams, okay? Then have each team select one student to act out a musical term while the other team guesses. And you might want to have, like, you might just write it on a piece of paper and show the student, and then they've actually got to act it out. So when someone correctly identifies a term, that team earns the point. And obviously I'd put a timer on, and there's plenty of timer things out there. This can also be done as an individual activity if you have a smaller music class. So in the past, especially with if you have senior classes like I have in the past, and they might have started out at 15 kids, but by the end you may be down to 6. And so this is a fun game to actually do that. And again, it just is it's an interesting way to get the kids moving, having fun, enjoying it, and trying to work out what the actual term is. So I said there's a few different variations on this game. One you might want to try, one variation on this game is to get your kids using Play-Doh. Now, again, I've done this before. I've also done this as an activity with my staff when I was the head teacher, and just as a fun activity to get, a different thing they could actually use in their classroom. Let me just tell you, playing it with adults, it soon turns to bedlam. And do all sorts of other things. But just be mindful, you are working with high school students or maybe middle school students, and sometimes if you give them something like Play-Doh, other things might be made with Play-Doh. I'm just saying, I'm putting it out there, but it's usually a lot of fun. Again, you might want to put some restrictions on what they can and can't do with the Play-Doh. You might want to play with different, again, with a team, so many different ways, but just again, that musical term. And another one is to use the good old Pictionary version. So most of us have a whiteboard in our classroom, and again, get them to write the term, and then they've got to draw the term in some way, shape, or form. So you could imagine, say, if the actual the term was, say, crescendo, okay, you might see them getting, like, you might have them, they might draw a hill. Yeah, I can't draw the symbol. Okay, they might draw a hill, and someone trying to get up it, and maybe it's something that's getting louder. I don't know. It's up to the kids how they want to do it. But again, it's just another way of demonstrating their understanding, and if they actually do know what the term means. The next one, music terms bingo. So bear with me for a minute. So many years ago, when I first started teaching back in the early 2000s, I know, that long ago, one of the subjects I taught a lot was math. I don't know why they got me to teach math, but they did. So I didn't mind teaching it, mainly because there was always a textbook reference to use, and there was no need to create resources because there was always that textbook thing there. They always gave me a lower ability class. My little munchkins were always, lower ability, and often these kids had trouble remembering their times tables. So at the end of each lesson, we would play a game of bingo. So to play it, I would ask them to draw a tic-tac-toe grid. So I'm just talking, 2 2 lines this way, 2 lines that way. So they had a grid of 9, okay, 3 by 3, and then fill it in with numbers for a certain times table. So say we were doing the 3 times tables, and we'd talk about the 3 times tables, and I'd put them up on the board and go, yeah, 3 ones, blah, 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 blah. And I'd say, okay, just put in numbers, any 9 of those numbers, okay? And they'd have to do it like they chose what numbers they put in to the grid and what order they put it in. And that's key here because it saves a lot of hassles. So then I'd draw out a card and I'd go 3 times 1. So if they had a 3, they'd cross it off. 3 times 6, they'd cross off the 18, whatever it happened to be. We would determine winners with a variation. So it might be that they had to have all the top row, all the middle row, all the bottom row, or the horizontals, or even diagonal ones. Then the winners would get a prize at the end. And I just keep playing this. If you had 10 minutes to spare or 5 minutes to spare, it was an easy way to get a quick game. And once you set up the procedure, the kids got really used to doing this very, very quickly. And I'd always have a space in the back of their books for it. But when I started teaching music on a more regular basis, because I was still teaching music, but wasn't necessarily full-time, I took the same idea into my classroom. So before playing the game, we would brainstorm all the music definitions or terms for a particular musical idea. So say you were talking pitch in the classroom and maybe melody, and you might go, okay, what are all the words we can use to describe a melody? And it might be ascending, descending, conjunct, disjunct, major, minor, the tonality I know, jumps, leaps, which I know is the same as conjunct, disjunct. Okay, contour, shape, smooth, jagged, whatever. Okay, you get them to brainstorm all the words. And then you'd say, okay, now once you've got a good enough amount of words, all righty, you always want to make sure that you've got more words than the number of things you put on the grid. Ask the students to draw up a grid and put in the words. So depending on the class, you might again just do a tic-tac-toe grid, or you might do a 4 by 4 or even a 5 by 5. Depends on the class and how many words you've actually got up on the board. Just like in the math class, we call out different music terms and the kids would cross them off until we had a winner. Again, I would play it with variations where, it had to be the top row, this row, whatever, or it might be a T, it might be a H, sorry, try and do H, ignore me, or it might be an X, or a plus sign, whatever it happened to be. So that way, it was just a good way to keep using the language, keep putting it in front of them, keep it front of mind for them so they knew what we were talking about, and reinforcing all the learning we had already done. Needless to say, there's a lot to like about this game, and I really do like it for a lot of reasons. It's quick to set up. The kids create their own bingo cards, so you can't get in trouble or they can't get upset with you for favouring people by giving them the winning card because they drew it up themselves. And the best of all, the kids are hearing the music terms in a fun way to help them remember it. What else? What is not to love? Okay. Again, it takes you out of the equation a bit because they've actually set it up. And if they win that, I was favouring, it's like, I didn't create your card. You did that. Okay. That wasn't me. That was you. As I said, just a bit of fun. All right, next one, and this is the last one, musical definition chairs. Now, this one is a bit harder to do and depends on the class, and you need a bigger class for this. You couldn't do this with 6 kids, not enough kids, but with a junior class, okay, where you've got maybe 30 children in there or more, a good game to play. So to play this fun music learning game, have enough chairs for half of your class to be seated when the music stops. On each chair, place a music term with the definition. So I use my music cards, which I haven't got in front of me, which I meant to, where the terms on one side, the definitions on the other. Okay, again, you can buy those in my store. All righty. And you put one on each chair. So to play the game, you play some music, doesn't matter what it is. When the music stops, students try to get a chair. If they don't get a chair, then they must stand and face a seated student. So everybody's involved. Doesn't matter who it is. The student that is seated then gets the card that they've sat on, okay, and asks the student who is standing to define the music term on the card. So if the card said crescendo, I'll use that one again, and the kid says, oh, it's gradually getting louder, fantastic, they're in the game, they stay in the game. But if the kid got it wrong, you have to go, no, you got it wrong, and then, talk about it. So if they get it right, they both remain in the game. But if they get it wrong, they're both out. But before removing the chair, the seated student asks for a definition of the term and the class can respond until someone gets it right. So again, it's just about reinforcing all that term before that term is taken out of the game. Then remove the chair and the term and play again until you get winners. So you just keep playing the game over and over. Try playing a couple of rounds of this game using the same terms. That way, all your music students get a chance to learn and remember the musical terms and definitions that you are focusing on for the lesson. So again, it's that reinforcement. Do the one pages. Play maybe a game of bingo, one lesson. Next time, come back and do a game of musical chairs. Next time, come back and do maybe Pictionary or something. Just keep reinforcing those terms and get lots of ways to do it. They're going to remember it. So these 3 fun and easy definitions for music term games should provide plenty of entertainment while still teaching important musical concepts in an engaging manner. These music classroom games will help foster creativity while also reinforcing knowledge of music terminology, which is what we want, that every young musician needs to understand. By incorporating some creativity into your lesson plans, you can help your students better retain information while also keeping them engaged throughout the lesson. Try these activities out in your next music class and watch how much more engaged everyone becomes while learning definitions for music terms. So if you'd like some more ideas on how to make your classes interesting, try the 5 ideas or 5 ways to make over your music curriculum download over at jooya.com/makeover your music curriculum, and you'll get the freebie there. If you'd like more information about this particular video, what's on the information on this video or any of the other videos on my YouTube channel here, you can go to my website, jooya.com, and I've got lots of information about the elements of music, which is what we're sort of talking about, all the different terminology, and it's all there as well. And if you're looking to buy some music resources, again, if you were looking for that bundle that uses the one pages to help in this these activities, go to TPT and search Jooya Teaching Resources, and you'll be able to find them really easily. And don't forget, if you'd like a free resource that you can use in your classroom about the elements of music mind maps, which is, again, another way to use those terms and get them to use them in an active way, especially if you're brainstorming to do the bingo game. Fantastic to use them there. Go to jooya.com/free mind maps. And if you got this far into the video, thank you so much. Don't forget to subscribe and click the like button. Give me the thumbs up. So I hope that this has actually given you some ideas. Now, I know it said 3 games, but let's face it, there was quite a few because there was variations on each of them, plus that activity using the one pages. This is a great way to get your kids to learn and remember the musical terms that they need to know about the elements of music, which helps them be a better performer, a better listener, a better composer, and anything else that happens to be in the music classroom. Until next time, I'm Jooya from Jooya Teaching Resources, and happy teaching. Bye.